I see a Meteor 350. Nice. Alright. Hello everyone. Welcome to a new type of video that I'll also be featuring on this channel. So this is like a podcast style where we'll be talking about something that I find concerning or I feel like I should talk about and spread more awareness sort of thing. So today let's talk petrol. To give you a brief, right now I'm in India. So for any international audience, I'm currently located in India, and over here we had E10 fuel from the past 5 years. Now, starting from 23, 23, what is it called? 23 second half? No, third quarter. 23 third quarter is when vehicle manufacturers started making BS6, the second phase, which is where bikes started getting BS6 compliant. Now, I'll be mostly talking about bikes because that's my primary mode of transport, plus that is my most preferred mode of transport. So I don't fuel a lot on my cars, and most of my cars are diesel, so this is completely irrelevant for them. So yeah, we'll be talking about petrol, and a very concerning thing actually. I think my camera got adjusted. Yeah, so a very concerning thing actually. The fact that in India we are now served with E20 fuel, which is essentially 20% blend of ethanol, and this is served down our throats. Not served, sorry, shoved down our throats without an option is quite insane actually, because the example that our government, the Indian government, takes when they have when they want to talk about this is Brazil, because they often tend to compare that, oh no, it's been happening in Brazil from quite a long time, so you guys shouldn't be worried, etc., etc., and it works. And all of this claims are just opposition's tactics to politics. But Brazil, in fact, actually started this from 1970, if I'm not wrong, and they took over 50 years to transition from 0% ethanol to 100% ethanol. And the Indian government is trying to do that in the span of 10 years, which is absolutely insane, because nor does it give it time for manufacturers to make their vehicles compliant to these new fuel norms, neither does it make the end user, prepared for this huge change, including the other third very important sector, which is the fuel pumps and all of that, the fuel serving platforms, not platforms, what am I saying, fuel serving stations or pumps, you get the idea. So yeah, when we talk about this whole situation that is happening in India right now, it's not a bad thing that India wants to blend more ethanol, and they want to save money by not importing that much amount of crude oil. It is completely a good path or a good decision that they're taking, and also something that I think is the right decision, because then we are not bound by this whole importation of crude oil as such, and we are free of all of that market, the pressure that right now we have by our global alliances, where crude oil is becoming a big concern as to from where we import, at what cost, and a whole hand is given, not hand, what is the exact term, leverage is given, a global leverage. Now this global leverage might not seem like a lot, but when it comes to making any decision, it actually affects a lot for us. I mean, what else? How else do I give you a example of how good of an idea this is. You can see right now that the US is, by the way, this is the 12th of August 2025. So if anything has changed after this, I do not know, or I'm not aware of this. So yeah, the US currently is single-handedly putting a lot of tariffs on India. If I'm not wrong, the current number is at around 50% tariffs because we are importing crude oil from Russia. Now that is a very weird claim, 100% full of crap, not shit, crap. 100% full of crap, because I mean it doesn't make sense, right? Who India imports oil from, who India sells oil to, even though it doesn't, or that's what our external affairs minister claims, is completely irrelevant or of no relevance to the US. But US here wants to be the daddy of all countries. So they're like, no. Who you import from oil is decided by us. Who you don't, speak with, or who your alliances and your, what is the other term? Your alliances and your enemies are also defined by us. That's what US wants to do. But the hypocrisy is, a few years back, US itself had not asked, but were happy with the decision that India was importing oil from other places, because that would leave more oil for them to use from their particular oil sources. Let's not talk about that. But yeah. So all of this is happening, right? India is trying to save money where it's spending on the importing of crude oil, and it also wants to have lesser leverage. I mean, it wants to give lesser leverage to its other countries when it comes to any sort of trade deals. But then the problem is, it's doing it in a very bad way for the end user. Now, that is the citizens. How? Let me explain. Petrol right now is at 102 rupees. It always has been. In fact, from COVID, if I'm not wrong, the petrol price was at 92, 93, and it slowly rose up to 110, and then went and sat at 102. Now, ethanol blending is gradually increasing. Like, the blend percent is slowly increasing from E10 to E20. Right now it's completely E20, and the Indian government is already in plans for E27 or E30 to be more precise. So now all of these numbers are fine. There was a cops, by the way. They were just asking us for I don't know what for. He slowed us down, and then he was like, okay, it's fine, you can go. Probably saw the camera. Anyway, let's go back to our conversation. The government wants to go to E30, which I'm all good for. It's good. It's cheaper for us, better for the country, everything, better for the farmers, all of that, cool. But what is a concern is the availability of other fuels. Now, if you're only giving the option of E20, vehicles that rely on E5 or E10 engine oil, rely on E5 or E10 because their engines are not compatible with E20, have no option but to use E20, which not only gives very bad mileage to them, but also severely damages their engines' prolongevity or their life, in other words. Now, according to the government, it's not a big concern, but for me, I think that personally is a very big thing, because most of the middle class people in India afford or purchase a car with a lot of effort, or a vehicle, even a motorcycle, with a lot of effort and a lot of dreams and a lot of thought, and it's like usually a one-time or a two-time purchase in their lifetime. Now imagine that you can no longer use cars in that way. Whatever car that you have been using from the past 10 years, no matter how much you struggle to earn it or buy it, is irrelevant. You now have no option but to scrap your car, and purchase a new car. Why? Because your car's fuel norms aren't the fuel norms at the fuel pumps aren't compatible with your car. So if you do not stop your car and purchase a new car, you will essentially, in a couple of years, maybe 1 or 2, your car will no longer function. Your engine will get seized and your car is just kaboom. You have to just park it. Now, the reason the Indian government is not doing this very transparently is because there is no clarity amongst the citizens or the government itself as to why we are not why, but if ethanol blending is actually fine. Not fine because we know Brazil is doing it and we know they're doing great at it, but if it is okay for our particular country, because our cars are not designed to work with E20 fuel or E30 fuel. And if you're just forcing them to use E20 and E30, of course it's going to be harm. E10 was fine because most vehicles have that amount of the build materials that are used to build the engine, the aluminium and the steel or whatever is used inside, even the rubber casings of the piston and everything, the gaskets and all of that, those can take so much impact. So E10 had already hit that threshold, but E20 is going above that threshold. So the vehicles will no longer be able to manage this blend level because E20 does not firstly blend as clean as petrol, secondly aren't as power dense as petrol. So what would that mean? Lower mileage, instant mileage drop actually, and also your engine will have more oh, I've never seen a shell closed. Interesting. Anyway, you see lesser mileage drop, you see a bigger mileage drop instantly, while also noticing more elements, not elements but residue left in your engine, which is very harmful. Now Brazil has been doing it great. How? Brazil has had the option at each of the fuel pump where the end consumers are allowed to pick what kind of fuel goes into their vehicle. E5, E10, E15, I think, E20, E30, and up to E100 in fact. Brazil also has completely ethanol-based fuel, which is insane. And consumers there are liking it because ethanol-based fuel is a lot cheaper than petrol. But over here in India, even though we have a 20% blend of ethanol, our fuel prices are not any different. It is the same as how it has been before. So who's actually making the profit? The government, because they are, even though blending the amount of ethanol into the fuel, they're not reducing the price, which means we are paying more for less now. And we do not have an option. Now, let's suppose there are a lot of people here, I personally do in my friend circles, who don't mind spending an extra 50 or an extra 50 is a big number, but an extra 20-30 rupees on top of the fuel price to get better fuel, more premium fuel. Now this can be your Shell Power, Indian, or any Bharat Petrol Bunk, whatever. Bharat also has petrol, and any of these, so they don't mind it. But the problem is even these are now blended, and this is a very funny and weird thing, that the Indian oil has very wrong, what is it called? The Indian oil itself does not know what is it doing, or what's the blend rate at its premium and normal petrol pumps. Not normal petrol pump, premium and normal petrol. And the not premium, they have the XP95 and XP100, right? So those, and the normal petrol that you get in the petrol pump. The normal petrol is E20, that is so pretty much defined. But the X95 and X100 are also 20% blended with ethanol. In fact, this is a very funny thing. When people had posted in the Twitter and asked the Indian Oil's handle, they had told that E20 is 20% blended, and X95 is anywhere between 10 to 20% blended, depending on the outlet and depending on whatever. And then E100 is 10% confirmed. Now the same Indian Oil, when was asked the same details through an RTI, I think it's called right to information, then the Indian Oil reverted back, saying that even the XP95 has a 20% blend. So there is no difference between the XP95 and the normal petrol. Of course, there are additives that help it burn cleaner or clean the engine or whatever, but the ethanol blend is still the same. And this information has been passed down as two different informations. Like there is one, the same company at one platform is saying that it is 10 to 20%, and the other platform it is like 20%. There is no chance it is 10. So this is extremely strange, and this is a very abruptly done change by the Indian government and the petrol bunk companies. Now this is one side of the story. The second side of the story is manufacturers. This is even more crazy because right now this bike, the 2023 Continental GT that I'm riding, is E20 compliant. That means that I can safely put E20 fuel without any harm. Of course, mileage will not be as great as E5 or E10 or E5, but I can use E20 without any harm as such, because this is a BS6 too. Now, any older vehicles of even older GTs, even maybe a year old, would not have this. They are not E20 compliant and they will get harmed on E20 fuel. Now, if the case is like this, companies need to plan accordingly, right? Like they need to support E20, or of course they themselves have told that they are E20 compliant and all of that. But here's where it gets interesting. Toyota recently launched two cars of theirs, the Innova Hi-Cross and the Toyota Hi-Rider. Now, I personally in my family own a Hi-Rider. My uncle owns one, and he bought it very recently. I'd say maybe 1.5-2 months back. Okay. Now, after he bought it, I recently, in fact not even then, maybe 1 week back, when I was going through these tweets and all of this, I came across this one particular very interesting thing from Toyota that claimed under their warranty that if you by any case used E20 fuel on your car, then you are no longer eligible to claim warranty. Now the thing is, we do not have an option to pick between E10 and E20. If we did, then we could follow whatever our guidelines or whatever manual that the manufacturer is providing. If we are not given the option, then we have no option. We have to do E20. And since we cannot do E10 and we only can do E20, and Toyota, insanely claims that, not even claims, has stated that if you use E20, you cannot claim warranty. That was a dog. Anyway, so if you use E20 fuel, then you cannot claim warranty. Imagine the situation of the Indian consumers who own the Hi-Cross and the Hi-Rider, because those are fairly expensive cars. Starting from 24, the Hi-Rider starts at 24 and the Hi-Cross starts at I think 30. Now at these price points, the consumer is obviously expecting a more premium usage of his vehicle, not necessarily in terms of performance, but in terms of longevity. He needs a longer he needs a car which makes it more than 10-15 years at least. Otherwise it does not break even for them, right? For a middle class at least. Now think about it this way: you purchase that car by taking a loan, saving for your down payment and all of that, and now because of the shenanigans pulled by the Indian government, you can not keep your car for more than 10 years at max, because you're using E20 fuel, which Toyota says not to use. And if at all something did happen to your engine little before 10 years, now let's suppose 2 years down the line, your engine gets damaged and you take it to the dealership, they're like, no, you cannot claim warranty because you used E20 fuel. And you can't even prove that you used only E10 fuel, because there is no E10 fuel commercially sold right now in India. So that is insane, no? For the car manufacturers themselves to not give you warranty if you use E20 fuel, when they know for a fact that you have no option. Now, if that is this much, there is a step ahead. There is this company called Acko, which provides insurance. I am sure you guys have heard of it and you've seen all sort of ads. It's a very popular brand. They also have gone to the extent of saying that you cannot claim any insurance on engine related problems if you use E20 fuels on your E10 rated engines. Now, when all of these big corporate companies, which is starting from your manufacturer to your insurance providers, are telling you that they will not help you in case something goes wrong, it's not a, what is it called, precaution that the companies have taken. It is a well calculated step, because they know for a fact that E20 is going to damage your E10 vehicles, and they have just saved themselves. I did a nice standing ovation. Yeah, they're just saving themselves. So, I mean, is this even the right way to execute something? This is so, it's just like they got up one day and they're like, oh, let's make E30 today, let's make India E30 compliant today, and then they just scribbled over and then they passed over the geo, and voila, we are E30 now. Your car might not survive 2 years, but we're E30. Yeah, it's good for the nation. This is an extremely bad way to achieve things, man. I've been lately quite proud of our Indian government, the way they're doing things, the way they handled things when Pakistan hit recently, the way they've been handling things globally with all of these big so-called powers trying to influence which way the Indian country should be, while the government of ours is actually taking a neutral stance, which is correct, and I've been proud of it. But all of a sudden, this happens. Their execution of the fuel is just terribly executed that it raises so many questions as to, is it really a well thought decision, or is it just something somebody just pulled out of their pocket. I don't know. Let's see. Today is the 12th of August 2025. I hope by the time upload this video, the Indian government has given some sort of message to its citizens on a more clarity, to give them more clarity as to what's happening. And my only hope is not that they stop blending. In fact, they should continue blending at a same rate or faster rate. I do not have a problem with that. But just provide us the option of fueling up the way we want to. E10, E20, E0. Let it at us. Let us make that decision. So that if anything goes wrong, we are responsible. And we have that feeling that, okay, we are responsible. Now if something goes wrong, even though you are responsible, it feels like we are, for not having an option. Very funny. Anyway, that's it for today. I mean, that's it for this podcast episode. I don't even know if I'm doing this professionally. This isn't any sort of professional podcast as such. This is just me on my bike talking to you guys through this mode. Yeah, if you guys like general motovlogs, then do check out my other videos. If not, then subscribe and watch out this playlist, because I'll be posting more podcasts in this particular playlist with similar or different topics. I'm not too sure. Time will tell. Motovlogs are also usually in this format, but with a different POV. The POV is here, not there. So you'll have my helmet POV, and we'll also do long rides and ASMR. So whatever suits you, free to watch. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good one. Alright everybody, welcome to a new video, a new style of video. This is more of a podcast kind of style. Finally got the POV that I really wanted to do for the podcast, but yeah. So let's talk about petrol. Let's talk petrol. No, wait, let me do that again. Alright everyone, welcome to a new podcast for okay.